That evening, I discovered something strange, hidden deep within the empty field. A massive egg, far larger than anything I had ever encountered before. I walked closer, heart racing, struggling to believe what I was seeing.
The shell felt cold and thick, hiding something alive deep inside it.
Its size was beyond any bird egg I had ever known before.
There were no signs anywhere explaining how this strange object appeared here.
I considered calling someone, but curiosity quickly took control over my decision. I decided to take it home and uncover the truth myself.
Moving it was far more difficult than I initially expected it to be. Every movement made me worry about damaging whatever was inside the egg.
Eventually, I secured it in the truck and prepared to leave immediately.
I had no idea what I was bringing home, but I could not stop.
My small farm was about to become home to something completely unknown.
I prepared a warm space, hoping whatever inside could survive here.
I built a controlled environment, trying to replicate heat conditions for something unknown.
I monitored temperature constantly, knowing even small changes could affect whatever lived inside.
The egg remained completely still, yet I could not shake the feeling it was alive.
I stayed beside it late into the night, watching for any subtle change.
Its surface showed slight moisture, something I had not seen before on eggs.
I leaned in carefully and thought I heard a faint movement from inside.
It was subtle, but enough to confirm something inside was slowly developing.
I began documenting every detail, knowing this situation was far beyond normal farming.
Days passed slowly, and the tension continued to build without any clear answers.
Deep down, I knew whatever inside was not something ordinary at all.
For several days, the egg remained unchanged, and I started questioning everything.
Then one morning, I noticed a thin line slowly forming across the surface. I moved closer, unsure whether the crack was damage or something alive inside. The crack extended slowly, as if pressure inside was steadily pushing outward.
More cracks appeared, spreading unpredictably across the shell, without any pattern. I stepped back carefully, realizing this process was far from anything natural.
The shell began to separate under pressure, driven by something strong inside.
Inside the crack, there was only darkness, nothing unnatural or artificially illuminated.
Pieces of the shell began breaking off, falling heavily onto the barn floor.
I stood frozen, knowing something massive was about to emerge from inside.
The opening was finally large enough, and something inside was clearly moving now. A small beak forced its way out first, moving slowly with visible effort. The head followed, weak and unstable, barely able to support its own weight.
It paused briefly, breathing heavily, as if gathering strength for the next movement.
A small movement from inside shifted the shell, showing the rest of its body.
It slowly pulled itself forward, struggling against both weight and gravity.
Its body trembled from exhaustion, not yet strong enough to fully emerge.
With one final push, it slipped free and collapsed heavily onto the ground.
It remained still, breathing slowly, adjusting to the world outside for the first time.
I watched closely, realizing it was alive, fragile, and completely dependent now. It lay there for a long time, its massive body barely moving at all. After a while, it tried to lift its head, struggling against its own weight.
Its head rose higher this time, but its body still lacked full control.
One leg pushed downward, but the strength was not enough yet.
I placed water nearby, noticing how small everything looked next to it.
It slowly leaned forward, its movement heavy and controlled with effort. Its beak touched the water, creating tiny ripples compared to its size. It pushed its body upward, struggling to support its enormous weight.
For a brief second, it stood tall, before its legs gave out again.
Feeding it became routine, and I quickly understood how much it needed daily.
It ate more confidently now, its size making everything around it seem small.
I had to refill constantly, its appetite growing faster each day.
Drinking became easier, though everything still looked small beside it.
I guided it outside, giving it more space to explore water naturally.
It stepped into the water slowly, reacting instinctively but more confidently now.
It started spending more time in water, becoming calmer and more natural.
I stayed close, watching how it adapted to its surroundings each day.
It could now stand more easily, its strength improving with each passing day. It walked out slowly, leaving deep marks behind from its weight.
Feeding remained constant, and it always came toward me when food appeared.
Its movements became faster, showing clear signs of growing strength.
Standing next to it now, I could clearly see how large it had become.
It followed me everywhere, never straying far from where I moved.
It began exploring more, showing curiosity about everything around it.
By then, it was no longer just surviving. It was becoming something much bigger.
It had grown far beyond anything I could have ever imagined.
It began playing with them, unaware of how large and powerful it had become. Despite its size, it showed no aggression toward the smaller animals around it.
But its size made even simple movements cause unintended destruction around the farm.
It stepped back without awareness, damaging everything in its path. I realized I had to teach it control before things got worse. It paused, as if recognizing something familiar in my voice and movement. I approached slowly, reminding it of the connection we built from the beginning. Gradually, it began to calm down, learning to control its own strength.
In the end, it was no longer wild. It had learned to live beside me.
Even large amounts of food seemed small compared to its growing appetite.
Keeping the farm intact became another challenge I could not ignore.
Space became limited, and even the barn was no longer enough for it.
Even when calm, its size made it dangerous to everything around it. I had to guide every movement carefully to avoid causing more damage.
Some nights, I wondered if I had taken on more than I could handle. But when it was calm, it reminded me why I chose to keep it.
It was difficult, but I was learning how to live with something extraordinary. In the end, it was no longer just a burden. It had become part of my life.
Life did not return to normal, but it slowly found a new balance. It learned to control its strength, moving more carefully with each passing day.
The farm slowly adapted, and even the smallest animals no longer feared it. I no longer saw it as something unusual, just something I had chosen to protect.
It stayed close, not out of instinct anymore, but something that felt like trust.
What started as curiosity had turned into something much bigger than I expected.
It was no longer just something I found. It had become part of this place.
Sometimes, I wondered how long this could last without the world noticing. But for now, it was just us, living quietly beyond what anyone else knew.
And somehow, that was enough for both of us.